Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello everybody. Hope you are all well. I am Dr. Dua Karim Mitwalli, lecturer of histology. In this video, we are going to discuss histology of the eye. We can face many medical conditions in the eye, like corneal opacity, retinal detachment, cataract, and glaucoma, which is increase the interocular pressure, resulting in pressure on the optic cup and damage optic disc and damage of the optic nerve. What are our ILOs? By the end of the eye lectures, you should be able to list the three coats of the wall of the eye, describe the structure and correlated functions of the outer coat, cornea, sclera, the middle coat, lens, the inner coat, retina of the wall of the eye. Name the 10 layers of the retina, describe the structure and correlated functions of the photoreceptors, name the types of the retinal neurons involved in collecting visual information, and describe the structure of the eyelid. The eye is a highly developed photosensitive organ located within the hollow bony orbit. The eye formed of the eyeball and accessory structures. The eyeball is formed of the wall of the eye and the contents of the eye as the vitreous hammer, the lens, and the vitreous body. The accessory structures include the eyelid, the conjunctiva, and the lacrimal apparatus. The wall of the eye is composed of three concentric layers. This is the first one, and this is the second, and this is the third one. The outer most layer is the outer fibrous layer formed of the cornea, anterior transparent part, and the sclera, the posterior opaque part. The middle coat appear in this picture in red color, The middle coat, or also called the middle vascular coat, or the uveal tract, formed of the choroid and ciliary body and the iris. The innermost layer, inner coat or the nervous coat, compressing the retina. Let's start with the cornea of the outer fibrous layer. The cornea is the anterior 1/6 transparent, highly innervated part of the fibrous layer. This is the cornea. Its thickness is about 0.8 or 0.9 millimeter in its center and 1.1 at its periphery. It is a highly innervated part and transparent part of the outer fibrous layer. The cornea is formed of 5 layers. The corneal epithelium, Bowman's membrane, substantia propria or stroma of the cornea, Descemet's membrane, and Descemet's endothelium. The first layer of the cornea is the corneal epithelium. It is formed of stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. It is about 5 to 6 layers thick, resting on straight basement membrane. The cells are connected with each other by many interdigitating processes. The epithelium is highly sensitive as it is highly innervated with free nerve endings. The superficial flat cells possess many microvilli to help retaining the tear film between them to keep the cornea wet, prevent dryness of the eye, and the medical condition called red eye that may result in corneal ulceration. The corneal epithelium has an excellent regenerative power by mitosis of the basal layer. So, if it is injured, it is easily healed as a result of the high or the excellent regenerative power by mitosis at the basal layers. The second layer of the cornea is the Bowman's membrane. This layer is a homogeneous non-cellular transparent layer composed of type 1 collagen fibers arranged in random fashion and also contains intercellular substance but has no cells. Bowman's capsule provides stability and strength the cornea. It also acts as a protective barrier against trauma and bacterial invasion. If the Bowman's capsule, Bowman's membrane damaged, it results in corneal opacity as it can't regenerate. It heals by scar formation, so leads to corneal opacity. The third layer of the cornea is substantia propria or the stroma of the cornea. It forms about 90% of the thickness of the cornea. It consists of parallel lamellae of collagen type 1, about 200 to 300 lamellae, with flattened fibroblasts in between these lamellae, and these flattened fibroblasts called corneal corpuscles, and also consists of ground substance rich in glycoproteins. So, substantia propria or the stroma consists of parallel lamellae of collagen fibers and corneal corpuscles and ground substance. This diagram shows the structure of the cornea with the epithelium, stroma, and endothelium. This stroma, as we see here, formed of successive lamellae of collagen bundles. The parallel collagen fibers form the lamellae. These successive lamellae of collagen bundles are perpendicular to each other. The fourth layer, which is the Descemet's membrane, this is the Descemet's membrane, is thick, homogeneous, highly refractile membrane formed of collagen fibers, forming network, but there is no elastic fibers. It is synthesized or produced by the underlying Descemet's endothelium. The Descemet's endothelium is formed of simple squamous cells lining the inner surface of the cornea. It is the innermost layer of the cornea, lining the inner surface of the cornea. It is responsible for the exchange of fluid between the corneal stroma and the anterior chamber. In electron microscope, these cells show signs of active transcellular endocytosis. They contain numerous mitochondria, pinocytotic vesicles, and these pinocytotic vesicles absorb excess fluid from the stroma. Cells absorb excess fluid from the stroma, keeping it relatively dehydrated, so they contribute in maintaining the transparency of the cornea. These are many light microscopic pictures for the cornea. As we see here, this is epithelium, and this is Bowman's membrane. Then the stroma or substantia propria of the cornea form a regular arrangement of collagen fibers with fibroblast in between the lamellae called corneal corpuscles. Then there is here Descemet's membrane. This Descemet's membrane, homogeneous membrane, thick, highly refractile, non-cellular, formed of only collagen fibers with ground substance, and the last layer, innermost layer, covering or lining the inner surface of the cornea, which is the corneal endothelium, as we see here, simple squamous cells. Okay, let's now know how the cornea adapt to its function and how the cornea receives the nutrition and the oxygen. The cornea is a vascular structure, so it receives its nutrition from the aqueous humor for its center. The center of the cornea takes the nutrition from the aqueous humor, while its periphery takes the nutrients from the vessels present in the limbus. The limbus is the corneoscleral junction. The corneoscleral junction between the cornea and the sclera called the limbus. This structure is highly vascular, so the periphery of the cornea depend in its nutrition on the vessels present in the limbus. Also, cornea receives the oxygen from the atmosphere. Okay. The cornea is transparent. Why the cornea is transparent? The transparency of the cornea is related to its structure. So, it is avascular. No blood vessels present in its structure, so it is transparent. Also, the regular arrangement of its cells and fibers. Also, the fibers and the ground substance have the same refractive index. Also, continuous withdrawal of fluids from the stroma through the endothelium. All these causes make the cornea transparent and help the transparency of the cornea. Okay, again, the cornea is transparent because it is a vascular structure, regular arrangement of cells and collagenous fibers, same refractive index of all its components, fibers and ground substances, continuous withdrawal of fluids from the stroma through the endothelium. Okay, the second part of the outer fibrous layer is the sclera. The sclera is the opaque white posterior 5/6 of the fibrous coat. This layer protects the delicate inner structure of the eye and maintains its shape. It is relatively avascular structure. It is anchored in the orbit by dense connective tissue called Tenon's capsule, and gives attachment to the extraocular muscles, permitting the rotatory movement of the eye. The sclera is perforated posteriorly by the optic nerve, which is actually a tract of the central nervous system. The sclera is formed of three layers: episcleral tissue, sclera proper, and lamina fusca. The episcleral tissue is the outermost fibroelastic connective tissue formed of fibroblast, collagen, and elastic fibers. The sclera proper, or the stroma of the sclera, formed of dense connective tissue containing collagen fibers and elastic fibers and fibroblast and ground substance. It is a site of the extraocular muscles insertion. Finally, lamina fusca, formed of loose connective tissue with melanocytes separated from the underlying choroid by the perichoroidal space. Okay, the sclera is opaque. Why the sclera is opaque? This is due to its high content of the water, irregular arrangement of its fibers, difference in refractive indices of its elements. The corneoscleral junction, or the limbus. As we mentioned, that the junction between the cornea and the sclera, called corneoscleral junction or the limbus. It is about 1 millimeter wide, ring-like transitional zone between the cornea and the sclera. This is the limbus. It is a highly vascularized structure. Shows the following histological characters. What is the changes occur at this part? The corneal epithelium, this is the cornea and this is the sclera. The corneal epithelium becomes thick and continuous with the pulpar conjunctiva. The Bowman's membrane ends at this point abruptly and replaced by the subconjunctival connective tissue. The substantia propria, or the stroma of the cornea, becomes irregular. As you see here, the irregular arrangement of the fibers. It forms the white opaque sclera proper. At this point, circular canal appears, what is called canal of Schlemm. This canal surrounding the limbus. The Descemet's membrane splits to form trabecular nichework or pachnetid ligament, enclosing small spaces called spaces of Fontaine. These spaces. The corneal endothelium lines the canal of Schlemm and the spaces of Fontaine. Again, this is the limbus or corneoscleral junction. The epithelium of the cornea becomes thick and continuous with pulpar conjunctiva. The Bowman's membrane ends abruptly and replaced by subconjunctival connective tissue. The substantia propria becomes regular, form sclera proper, and at this point canal of Schlemm appear. In this point surround the limbus. The Descemet's membrane splits to form trabecular meshwork, enclosing small spaces called the spaces of Fontana, and the corneal endothelium extend to line the canal of Schlemm and the spaces of Fontana. The iridocorneal angle, it is the angle between the cornea and the iris. This is the angle between the cornea and the iris, iridocorneal angle. It includes the spaces of Fontana present here. The spaces of Fontana in iridocorneal angle. Are the chambers of the eye. The eye has three chambers: the anterior, posterior, and vitreous chamber. The anterior chamber, filled with the aqueous humor, lies between the cornea anteriorly and the iris, anterior surface of the iris, and lens posteriorly. The posterior chamber lies between the posterior surface of the iris and the lens, and also filled with aqueous humor, while the vitreous chamber lies behind the lens and surrounded by the retina, and it is filled with the vitreous body. The aqueous humor is thin watery fluid present in the anterior and posterior chambers. It is similar to serum in having no fibrinogen, so it can't clot, but it has lower protein content. It is produced mainly by diffusion from the capillaries of the ciliary processes of the ciliary body and the inner non-pigmented epithelium in the posterior chamber. It reaches the anterior chamber through the pupil. So it is produced by ciliary processes, enter posterior chamber and pass through the pupil to the anterior chamber. Then to the iridocorneal angle, to the spaces of Fontana and the canal of Schlemm. It then becomes absorbed through small channels in the sclera, then to the aqueous veins in subconjunctival connective tissue to the venous circulation. The rate of aqueous production equal to the rate of the drainage. So, if the rate of production of the aqueous humor is higher than absorption, or if the circulation is obstructed, progressive rise in the intraocular pressure will occur. Resulting in pressure on the optic disc and the optic nerve, and may result in damage to the optic nerve and the medical condition called glaucoma. The second layer of the eye, the middle vascular layer, also called the uveal tract, it is formed of the choroid, the posterior part of this layer, then ciliary body with its processes, and the iris, the choroid ciliary body with the ciliary muscle and its processes, and the iris. The function of the middle vascular layer or the uveal tract is the production of the aqueous humor, as we mentioned, produced by ciliary processes and enter to a posterior chamber and pass through pupil to anterior chamber. Nutrition of the retina, responsible for nutrition of the innermost layer, the nervous layer, the retina, and also responsible for visual accommodation through the ciliary muscle helps accommodation visual accommodation for far and near vision. In the function of the middle vascular layer or the uveal tract, the production of the aqueous humor, nutrition of the retina, and visual accommodation through the ciliary muscle that help changing the shape of the lens. What are the refractive media of the eye? These are four transparent structures of the eye through which the light passes to reach the retina. They are the cornea, the aqueous humor present in anterior and posterior chambers, the lens of the eye, the crystalline lens, and finally the vitreous body in the vitreous chamber. These are four transparent structures. Okay, let's now discuss the lens of the eye, the crystalline lens. This is the lens. The lens is an elastic, transparent, biconvex, flexible disc suspended behind the pupil. This is the pupil. It is suspended behind the pupil by the suspensory ligament or the newel, extend from ciliary processes of the ciliary body. Okay, so it is an elastic, transparent, biconvex, flexible disc suspended in the posterior chamber behind the pupil by the suspensory ligament. It has neither blood nor nerve supply. It is nourished by the aqueous humor. What is the structure of the crystalline lens? Let's now know the structure of the lens. The lens is formed of three structures. The lens capsule, lens epithelium or called subcapsular epithelium, and lens fibers. This lens capsule, the outer part, then the subcapsular epithelium in anterior part, anterior pole only of the lens, and finally the lens fibers. This is the lens fibers. The lens capsule is elastic, transparent, and very thick basement membrane formed by the underlying subcapsular epithelium, and it gives insertion to the newel. The second structure is the subcapsular epithelium, subcapsular epithelium or lens epithelium. It is formed of a single layer of cuboidal epithelium. It is formed of single layer of cuboidal cells, as we see here, cuboidal cells. on the anterior surface of the lens only. The cells at the center are inactive, while those at the equator proliferate and divide to form the lens fibers. These cells of the subcapsular epithelium are connected by gap junctions. The lens fibers are highly differentiated and elongated cells. They develop by division of the subcapsular epithelial cells at level of the equator. The these peripheral younger cells contain nuclei and a few organelles. As they grow, they are pushed to the center, and lose their nuclei and organelles and become filled with crystalline protein. The lens fibers are interlocked to keep them tightly attached during accommodation. Okay, let's now know some clinical applications on the eye and its structure. One of these applications is the presbyopia. It is a condition occurs mostly with the age. The lens in this case loses its elasticity with the age and become unable to accommodate. This condition can be corrected by wearing reading glasses or using magnifying lens. Another condition is the cataract, which is a loss of the transparency of the lens or its capsule, mostly associated with age, or may be due to a medical condition like disease, metabolic or hereditary conditions. It is could be corrected surgically through removal of the affected lens and replace it with artificial one. Let's summarize our lesson for today. The eye is formed of three coats or three layers: the outer fibrous, then middle vascular, and the inner nervous coats. The fibrous coat is formed of the cornea anteriorly and sclera posteriorly. The corneal structure is formed of 5 layers: corneal epithelium, Bowman's membrane, substantia propria or the stroma of the cornea, Descemet's membrane, and finally Descemet's endothelium, which lines the cornea, inner surface of the cornea. The uveal coat is, or uveal tract is formed of the choroid, ciliary body, and iris. The choroid is formed of suprachoroidal layer, vascular layer, choriocapillary layer, and Bruch's membrane. The ciliary body is formed of ciliary muscle and ciliary processes. The iris has an irregular anterior surface, vascular stroma, dilator pupillae muscle, and double layer of pigmented epithelium. The crystalline lens is formed of the lens capsule, which is thick transparent basement membrane, single layer of cuboidal epithelium called subcapsular epithelium, and the lens fibers. It is time for quiz. The first question, iridocorneal angle. The iridocorneal angle contains all the following structures except this part. The iridocorneal angle contains the following structures except spaces of Fontana, canal of Schlemm, pectinate ligament, or Bowman's membrane. Okay, right, exactly. It doesn't contain the Bowman's membrane, as the Bowman's membrane is part of the cornea, second layer of the cornea under the corneal epithelium. Which structure is part of the uveal tract? Which structure part of the uveal tract? Okay, let's know the structure of the uveal tract. As we mentioned before, it is formed of the choroid and ciliary body and the iris. So, which structure is part of the uveal tract? Ora serrata, lens, cornea, sclera, ciliary body. Okay, exactly. It is the ciliary body. In this part, this is the ciliary body. Ciliary body, as we mentioned, formed of ciliary muscle and the processes. The ciliary muscle involved in the accommodation, near and far vision, and changes the shape of the lens, and ciliary processes send the zonule that suspend the lens and also produce the aqueous humor. So the structure which is a part of the uveal tract is the ciliary body. Ciliary muscle located in the choroid, ciliary body, iris, ora serrata, sclera. Okay, exactly. Ciliary muscle located in ciliary body. What structure adjusts the shape of the lens? Internal oblique muscle, orbicularis oculi, tarsus, ciliary muscle, levator muscle. Okay, exactly. The answer is number D, ciliary muscle. As we mentioned that ciliary muscle adjusts the shape of the lens and involved in accommodation and the far and near vision of the eye. This is a light microscopic picture or photo for the cornea. As we see the structure, corneal epithelium, Bowman's membrane, and substantia propria or stroma, and then Desnet's membrane and endothelium. Let's see the question on the cornea. Which layer of the cornea is acellular? Which layer is acellular? Bowman's membrane, substantia propria, epithelium, endothelium, or all of the above? Exactly, it is the Bowman's membrane. It is a homogeneous, non-cellular layer formed of collagen fibers and ground substance with no cells. Another picture for the cornea. What type of epithelium is on the surface of the cornea? What is this type? Simple squamous, stratified squamous, simple cuboidal, simple columnar, or transitional epithelium? Exactly, as we see in the picture, it is a stratified squamous epithelium formed of more than one layer, with the upper most layer flat cells, squamous cells. So it is a stratified squamous epithelium. As we mentioned before, that the corneal epithelium formed of stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium, and it is about 5 to 6 layers thick, resting on the straight basement membrane. And this epithelium is highly sensitive, supplied with free nerve endings, and cells, superficial flat cells possess microvilli to help retaining the tear film between them to keep the cornea wet and prevent dryness of the eye and prevent ulceration as a result of this dryness. So this type of epithelium help in protection of the eye. Okay, thank you so much for your listening.